What makes a bass line legendary? What transforms rhythmic motion into timeless groove? For millions of music lovers, musicians, and dancers around the world, the answer lies not in virtuosity or speed, but in feel, discipline, and restraint. At the center of that philosophy stands Rocco Prestia, a bassist whose work with Tower of Power didn't just support funk music, but redefined its rhythmic language. Rocco Prestia was not a flashy soloist. He wasn't chasing the spotlight. Instead, he built a rhythmic architecture so powerful, so precise, that entire generations of musicians still study it note by note. This is the story of a man who turned muted 16th notes into an art form. A musician whose bass lines became the heartbeat of funk itself. This is the story of Rocco Prestia. Before we continue, subscribe now, like this video, comment, and share. Rocco Prestia Jr. was born on March 7, 1951, in Sonora, California, a small town far removed from the urban funk scenes that would later define his career. Like many musicians of his generation, Rocco initially gravitated toward the electric guitar. The guitar was the instrument of heroes in the early 1960s. Chuck Berry, Jimi Hendrix, and the British invasion dominated the cultural landscape. But fate intervened. As a teenager, Rocco attended a rehearsal for a band formed by a classmate. The group needed a bassist. Someone suggested he try the instrument. At 14 years old, Rocco picked up the electric bass guitar and never put it down. Unlike many players who approached bass as a simplified guitar, Rocco became obsessed with rhythm. He listened closely to soul, R&B, and early funk records, noticing how the bass didn't just support harmony, it created motion. This early sensitivity to rhythm would define his entire musical identity. In the late 1960s, Oakland, California was a hotbed of musical experimentation, political energy, and cultural change. It was here that Tower of Power was formed, originally by Emilio Castillo and Stephen Doc Kupka, blending soul, funk, jazz, and powerful horn arrangements into a sound unlike anything else on the West Coast. Rocco Prestia joined Tower of Power in 1968, becoming an integral part of the band at a very young age. What set Tower of Power apart wasn't just their horn section, it was their rhythm section. Prestia joined Tower of Power in 1968, becoming an integral part of the band at a very young age. What set Tower of Power apart wasn't just their horn section, it was their rhythm section. Rocco Prestia on bass, David Garibaldi on drums. Together, they created one of the tightest and most influential rhythmic partnerships in modern music. In funk music, rhythm is everything. Tower of Power didn't rely on heavy chord changes or extended solos. Instead, they built songs around interlocking rhythmic patterns, where each instrument occupied a precise role. Rocco Prestia was not simply playing bass lines, he was designing rhythmic systems. His bass functioned almost like a percussion instrument, locking so tightly with Garibaldi's drums that the groove felt mechanical in precision, yet deeply human in feel. This approach was revolutionary. Where many bassists emphasized long, sustained notes, Rocco focused on short, muted, repeated figures, creating relentless forward motion. No song captures Rocco Prestia's genius more clearly than What Is Hip, released in 1973 on Tower of Power's album Tower of Power. At first listen, the bass line sounds simple, but closer inspection reveals extraordinary complexity. Rhythmic construction. The line is built almost entirely on 16th notes, articulated with extreme precision. Rocco uses muted notes, ghost notes, repeated rhythmic cells. Rather than outlining complex harmonic movement, he emphasizes time feel. Harmonic approach. The harmony stays largely centered, but Rocco creates interest by alternating root notes, fifths, octaves. He avoids unnecessary fills, letting rhythm do the talking. Intensity and feel. What makes the line legendary is not what he plays, but how consistently he plays it. The groove never relaxes, never drifts. It pushes the band forward like a locomotive. This line is now considered one of the most studied bass grooves in history, frequently cited in bass education materials, YouTube tutorials, and music schools worldwide. Rocco Prestia's technique has become a category unto itself, fingerstyle funk. Unlike slap bass, which emphasizes attack and percussive brightness, Prestia's style is controlled, muted, and internalized. Left-hand muting. Rocco lightly rested his left hand across the strings, preventing notes from ringing. This produced short note duration, strong rhythmic clarity, a thick, punchy tone. Ghost notes. Ghost notes were essential to his style. These notes are barely audible in pitch, but strongly felt rhythmically. They act like connective tissue between beats, filling space without cluttering harmony. Economy of motion. Rocco avoided unnecessary movement. He stayed in familiar hand positions, focusing on repetition, consistency, endurance. This allowed him to maintain high-energy grooves for entire songs and entire concerts, without losing precision. Rocco Prestia did not emerge in isolation. He openly acknowledged influences such as James Jamerson, Motown, Larry Graham, slap bass pioneer, Bootsy Collins, classic R&B and soul bassists of the 1960s. But while Jamerson emphasized melodic motion and Graham emphasized percussive slap, Rocco carved a third path, pure rhythmic density. In doing so, he influenced countless players across genres: funk, fusion, neo-soul, modern gospel, jam bands. His approach reshaped how bassists thought about time, space, and groove. Beyond what is hip, Rocco Prestia's influence spans dozens of Tower of Power recordings. Key examples include Soul Vaccination, You're Still a Young Man, Squib Cakes, You Got to Funkifies, Don't Change Horses, In the Middle of a Stream. In Squib Cakes, Rocco blends muted rhythmic figures, syncopated accents, melodic interplay with horns. The bass doesn't just support the groove, it converses with it. Behind the relentless groove, Rocco Prestia faced serious personal challenges. In the early 2000s, he was diagnosed with liver disease, a condition that forced him to step away from touring and recording. For years, fans and fellow musicians followed his health struggles closely. In 2014, Rocco underwent a successful liver transplant, made possible in part by fundraising efforts from fans, musicians, and the Tower of Power community. Despite ongoing health challenges, he remained deeply connected to music, teaching, and inspiring others. Francis Rocco Prestia passed away on September 29, 2020, at the age of 69, in Las Vegas, Nevada. The news sent shockwaves through the music community. Tributes poured in from bassists, drummers, educators, fans around the world. Tower of Power honored him as irreplaceable. Not just a band member, but a rhythmic identity. Rocco Prestia didn't redefine bass through volume or flash. He did it through discipline, through consistency, through respect for the groove. Today, his influence is visible in modern funk bass lines, neo-soul rhythm sections, gospel bass techniques, bass education worldwide. Every time a bassist locks into a tight 16th note groove, muting notes for clarity rather than volume, they are echoing Rocco Prestia's philosophy. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. See you in the next video.